All right, we'll open up tonight's meeting, regular meeting of the Caledonia Township Planning Commission for August 5th. Call the roll. Yeah, let's go with the pledge of allegiance first. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Novak.
Here.
Claire.
Here.
Lalonde.
Here.
McKinnon.
Here.
Adams on here.
Okay, we have a quorum. For tonight's agenda, I'm very happy with our turnout tonight. Everybody got the birthday invitation, so I'll see you this time. Having everybody here, I think I just want to kind of go over a couple things. We have a public comment period right at the beginning of our meeting. And I would like to request that we amend our agenda a little bit and add a section of new business right after old business. We don't have any old business tonight. Maybe just give us a half hour to have a little bit of a discussion on solar. For everybody's information, solar is not on our agenda tonight. Tonight's agenda, there is several copies floating around that is out there, and we will be going through our normal course of action tonight. But if we could add a half hour of discussion for that, if we could have somebody propose an amendment to our agenda.
I'll make an amendment to your agenda to add solar discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Other than that, can we get an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Let's start off with public comments. You are more than welcome to, this is a public comment tonight. You're more than welcome to, you have the podium and we can make sure the microphone is turned on. This is the time that we have 3 minutes for anybody to give input or have any discussion you want. It's not a time that we answer questions. This is just a public comment period. So anybody want to speak at public comment?
I would like to.
Go ahead, if you want to come up to the podium, and please give us your name and address.
Okay. Yep, my name is Todd Schultz, 6261 Hanson Road. Is this on?
Doesn't sound like it. Check the red button. Is there a button on it?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Yep, live over on Hanson Road and have for a long, long time. And have some concerns with the solar panel projects that I'm hearing about. And it's just rumors and hearsay so far. So my concerns are, is there a site plan and a location map of all the solar panel areas that are going to be contracted, I guess, through consumers? And the environmental impact statement for such sites, has that been addressed, or is that ongoing? Or like our power demand, I'm thinking, hasn't gone up in this area. Why are we getting all these solar panels? I don't understand it. And where's that power going? Is it going downstate? If so, why aren't those solar panels put down there? They got plenty of room in highways all over the place for that. I think it's gonna be a real eyesore for this area, bring down our home prices. And, I don't think it's gonna help anybody around here, residential people. It's gonna just be pollution, light in my eyes. So, I think a lot of that is just money and greed. I know they have a federal funding through the state of Michigan to do all this here, and people down there are saying, let's do it up there, let's get it out of our area. What do you think it's gonna do to Hubbard Lake area and the vacationers, and not to mention the residents that have to live here year round? And this ain't gonna be something that gets put up and then taken down. This is gonna be a lifetime of us looking at this. Driving around, we're gonna see it all the time. I don't think it's gonna help anybody here. And then, like, rules and ordinances, is it gonna be 500 feet from an occupied dwelling? If somebody gets caught in the middle there, are they gonna have solar panels right up to their doorsteps here? I think we need to address that with the ordinances. And,
One more minute, please. One more minute, please.
one more minute, all right. So I'm also gonna talk a little bit about the ice storm, and that, we have 80 acres over there. We have 30 acres of woods, and I'm not kidding you, a third of our woods has got wiped out. Poplar trees fell over onto good trees. It's a mess. I think our property taxes should go down for that reason. Has any thoughts been considered about that? I'm just making you guys aware of that, you know. I think we're all aware of it here. It happened twice in a row. 2 years in a row. It's devastating for everybody. So that's some of my concerns right now, and I have a lot more, I guess, but I'm running out of time here. So I think that's something to really think about. All this ain't going to just happen and then it's going to go away. We're going to see it. Our kids are going to see it. It's terrible in my eyes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dana Ramus. You have my address on the documents I just left you with. Before I get started, I wanted you to know that I sent you something in advance, and it came out via email. I didn't realize I had to sign at the bottom. You're thinking, oh, it's email, your email pops in. I only had my initials. There was no intent for me to be anonymous. I planned on it being polite and getting it to you in advance of me coming to speak. And in a public comment, I wanted it to go to you, not to be anonymous. Additionally, this is meant to be a friendly comment and a recommendation, not criticism, but for me to express some things I've encountered and provide you with some advice going forward. If you want to talk about misinformation, the only way I heard there was possible solar planning was, obviously I'm from Guston, a neighbor in Guston. I did not see any postings, but in looking at the Guston and the Harrisville Township, right on the same page under active plans, Caledonia is listed. So perhaps everybody in the room might have seen that, and that may have led to the big attendance tonight, when the only other information they saw that you may be discussing ordinances. And at your last meeting, you also discussed ordinances by the same person that we know wrote Guston's. So perhaps we didn't do our jobs in coming here to find out exactly what it was, and I apologize for that. But as I said, I'm an Alcona County resident and a neighbor from Guston. I'm here to give my input on solar power. As we learned from Harrisville and Guston Township, the community takes this issue seriously. You can also see that by the attendance tonight. And we know that you and your job is to write the ordinances, develop them, and enforce the ordinances that protect them.
1 minute left, please.
And create a great community. I have a few recommendations. To be transparent, as you have been, you guys probably have the best website of anybody in the county. Kudos.
Yes.
You're doing a good job. We want you to continue doing that. I apologize, I don't even know if you have a freaking solar power ordinance, but I will definitely look, because this is my community too. I drive through your community to go to church. Businesses swap back and forth between Guston and Harrisville. We're Alcona County. It's important to me, it's important to everybody else. Also, it's very important that you get an independent person to help write the ordinance and an independent person to legally understand what you are facing. These specialists will come in and tell you that you have no choice. You have to approve this. If you don't, you lose your power. If you don't, it's out of your hands. Some of that is hogwash. Other things I've said in here, which you can read, is that the fear of God is put in you. It doesn't have to be. Support the community, and the community will support you. Do what they want and what the ordinances say. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dana, just for the record, I did get your email.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bernie Borowski. I'm sorry I'm loud. I'm used to yelling in the microphones. I've got a question. Who here will this benefit if we do solar farm? Anyone?
What was the question?
Who will benefit from this?
You're not supposed to do this as an open meeting, but I have a list of people that would benefit if you want to talk about it.
Yes, if you could please address us.
Okay. Who would benefit from this? Anyone? I know there's a person or two here that would benefit. Who's going to pay? Who's it going to affect in negative ways? The farmers that didn't sign for this. Yes. The farmers that didn't sign for this will be affected in negative ways. All the deer that have been on this 1,200 acres or whatever will be fenced out. They put fences around it to protect their investment. I get that.
No.
Yes.
No.
Up by Rogers City, they have a fence around it. There's deer daily caught in the fence. There's a guy that his job is to walk the perimeter and take the deer out of the fence. Farmers will be affected because all the deer are going to be devastating their crops that they have in. Drivers will be affected.
Everybody, please allow the speaker to address us. Everybody will have a chance.
Drivers will be affected because all these deer that are fenced out of this 1,200 acres or whatever will now be on the road, and we're going to be hitting way more of them. Is there anything set up as far as future contamination due to solar panels? I know I don't expect answers, but we've been told, stuff leaching into your wells is a concern. We've been told, I've got family that has worked on the one up there, and they were told in 20 years you can come back and push off 3 to 6 foot of dirt that'll be contaminated. Where's all this dirt going? Where's the replacement dirt coming from? Then when the replacement dirt's brought in, it's not 150 years of organic matter on the top from being farmed for the last 200 years, whatever. It's going to be just mixed up BS dirt, and it's going to be a wasteland. Nothing's going to grow there. I asked Anthony about the trees and berms, and I was told that's still a thing. Good, because as has been said, we don't want to see this. The people that come up here to Hubbard Lake, they buy up here to get away from this. I think I've said all I really need. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Bob Turk. I live in Harrisville Township. I want to talk about the public hearings that took place in Harrisville Township and in Guston Township and how they might directly relate to you. In both those public hearings, over 200 people showed up, and between those two, there was only one person that spoke in favor of the solar projects, and that person stood to gain from it financial. comments over and over and over that it would negatively affect the character of the area. That, and it would potentially affect property values of the neighbors. Not one person stood up and said, we want you to work with consumers to change your zoning laws to cater to them. Not one person stood up and said, we want you to work with consumers to help you get a grant by letting them do whatever they want. Not one person. So the pertinent amount, eventually Guston denied the permit, and the main reason was they did not feel that it complied with their zoning ordinance, as well as far as affecting the rural character, as well as how it might affect local residents' property values. The thing that's important is that your zoning ordinance is almost exactly the same as Guston's. If you check in your zoning ordinance for the word character, it comes up 51 times in the sense of not wanting to change the rural character, not being allowed to change the rural character. Your zoning ordinance right now has everything it needs to deny a special use permit to consumers based on those reasons alone. That it would change the rural character and that it could affect property values. If you don't believe the 5 or 6 studies that I could provide you that says it affects property values of the neighbors, maybe you would believe Cam Cavett, who wrote a letter to Guston saying that exact same thing. As a licensed realtor, he thinks it would affect the rural character and the property values. Consumers have many, many people that they can hire to deal with to try to comply, but they cannot change your zoning ordinance. Only you could change your zoning ordinance. As of right now, it would absolutely not allow consumers to do what they want to do based upon your zoning ordinance. One other thing I just want to remind you, in the state of Michigan, as far as a person needing to recuse themselves from a meeting, parents are considered immediate family. So if a parent has a potential to gain financially from any decision in front of the board, a board member needs to recuse himself from any discussions, any deliberations, can't second or make a motion, cannot vote on a motion. So if you have anybody on your board whose parents can possibly gain from the consumer solar program, they need to recuse themselves. And in addition to that, it might benefit you if you look back at any previous decisions that maybe you have made and see if an individual on your board has been involved in any manner making any decision. If you doubt that Caledonia Township residents would be different than Harrisville or Guston, I would humbly suggest that rather than waiting until there is a permit applied for and then have a public meeting, do it in advance. What happened in Guston and Harrisville is there was set up a kind of an adversarial atmosphere where the 200 people said, look, the township board or the planning commission is going to do something. We need to stop them. Don't wait. If you think Caledonia is different than Harrisville and Guston, put a meeting together ahead of time. Ask people. Say, look, we have no intention of changing our zoning. And you'll see that the people are 100% in favor of that. Thank you very much.
Everybody, Pam McCummon, my farm, my 3rd, almost 4th generation farm, where my father-in-law actually, with his father, cleared the trees and actually cleared the land to plant it into farming. So all you people that are worried about your farmland, go buy some land, get the trees off of it, and look at your lawn. But don't tell us that what we have done for the last, myself, 40 years, what I've done, you're going to tell me that I don't have no rights to my property. I'd be careful because they warned you about everything. I talked to Cam Cavett's office after that letter, too. I know why he wrote that letter for his first girlfriend's dogs. Cam Cavett, yeah, I know, that wasn't me. Cam Cavett underling that I talked to, that's really bad, Lieutenant Deputy whatever he is, had a little bit opposite of things to say. So as we took that, we might remember when our government decides to get back in session, you might see something else. And I'm only going to say this once, and you can listen to what you think you can fight with the government and the state. But you can't stall this long enough to see what's going to happen. And if you don't work and make your ordinances and keep those berms and everything, the people that are around you are going to suffer. Because consumers is here, you know it as well as I do. Don't take away your property, your citizens. Don't do it, because if they go for the state, they're taking everything away. They won't work with us. And I have houses that surround that, and so do other people on that board that have houses. Do you want to look at it, or would you like to work with a company that's going to make sure it's nice?
I wonder at all.
You don't get a choice.
Yeah,
This is the world we're
taxpayers.
living in. Who doesn't have a cell phone in this place? And who thinks that cell phone's going to last 30 friggin' years? Neither are you.
Please allow the discussion from the podium to us.
Hello,
I'm not.
let me figure out how far to be away from this, I don't want to blast you out. My name is Pam Idema. The address is 2280 East Quick Road. That would be Lincoln, and I'm here as just a concerned citizen, and I believe you all have a very hard job in front of you. I would not want to be in your shoes. But with the meetings that I've been to, I've noticed some things, and I've read a lot of the plans that the consumers submit. The consumers' plans are sloppily done. They don't protect us. They open doors to the company and do not look after our environment, our community. They don't look after our noise level. They don't look after our glare. So we are going to be impacted all the way around by this. On top of that, when consumers comes in, they're not going to protect our roads from all this heavy equipment that comes in. Who's going to be left with that? Our taxpayers. How about the extra training that needs to be done? Because if there's a fire from this, they need to be specially trained. Who's going to pay these volunteers to be trained? And then how long is it before they can no longer be volunteers? They have to be paid staff. Who covers the cost of that paid staff? Well, it's township and community, Alcona County infrastructure, so consumers doesn't have to pay for that. We do. And it's just not right to go through our permit application or your permit application without looking at all these factors. You know, how can you decrease the glare? You know, make them stand up to what the laws say, what your ordinance is going to say. Make them submit paperwork that will support that they can stay within the boundaries that you're designed to do. If we have to live with it, let's live with it as safely as we can. You know, that's what you want to do, is protect your people, because that's who's going to be living with it every day. Kind of lost my sense when you said, when you said 1 minute left. So we have an example of what I'm talking about is there was glare on one of the reports that they provided, you know, only 5 areas for like 15, 20 minutes each area on the road, and then only 5 areas 15, 20 minutes twice a day. So when you're looking at, if you're a house on the top of a hill, which they don't even look at that, you know, they don't factor in the terrain, there's so many holes in this. Get your community, the people that are researching, get your community to help you go through this as you have to go through it. And that way they can help you find these holes so that we can make it as good as possibly can, because, you know, a lot of us don't want it, but if we have to have it, don't. And the decommissioning plan is just out the door, you know. You need to get a good, solid decommissioning plan so that we're not going to be left with bad soil, or, you know, they plan to pelletize all the panels, and so that adds to our air, our water. That, you know, Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Brad Chase, again, another Guston neighbor. I went to a consumer-sponsored event to give us information, and after that event, I was more worried than I was going in. I didn't feel like I was hearing the truth. I've heard from people that were actually giving to solar. They were told not to talk to their neighbors. It appeared to me that the meeting that consumers had designed was deliberately to prevent us from knowing what our neighbors' concerns were. I asked consumers about the tax rate they'd be paying and how this would affect my tax or my electric bill. I was told it wouldn't affect my electric bill, but that the lawyers that were supposed to address that didn't come to the meeting. So why didn't they send somebody else? And half of my consumer's bill is the energy I use. The other half is delivery fees and charges. These fees and charges are for lines that were installed in the 60s and 70s. I can't imagine how anything new being installed isn't going to change my bill if I'm still paying for lines that were installed 60 years ago. At the meeting, they talked about decommissioning the solar farms after 30 years. They wouldn't tell us how that would affect our rates. Is there a chance that consumers will decide to sell off these farms to a third party and buy the electricity back at a higher rate, like what they're doing with the hydroelectric dams? Is this another way to validate rate increases? At the meeting, I was told no firefighter training or special equipment was going to be needed because there was no hazardous material or no hazardous chemicals, and that there was nothing to worry about. I've had some firefighting training, and acres of burning solar panels locked behind a gate sounds like something to worry about. EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. What do these produce? Anyways, we know that EMF affects humans and livestock fertility. It also showed in some studies that it affects birds laying eggs. Where do these lines run? Who or what might be affected? Finally, the pollution. They've got noise, heat, and light. Will these sites be lit? How will it affect the night sky? What about the heat? How do they get cooled? Will they be drilling wells? How much water will they use? Will there be runoff? Is there increased risk of fire? We never had any answer to those. I was told that the noise would be negligible. This is the sound from the Holly Farm Solar Park. I found that online. There's more noise if you get solar arrays. Words like negligible and terms like no hazardous material and nothing to worry about, while forgetting to bring lawyers and experts and a forum that deliberately prevents shared knowledge from locals, makes me worried that we're being played. Consumers is pushing this forward. It may be in their best interest, but I think the community's best interest should come first. I'm concerned that once we change the designation from agricultural to industrial, it opens the door for other such things like data centers. This is where we live. Solar belongs somewhere, but not on farmland.
Sir, what solar farm was that you had the audio from?
It was called Holly Farms Solar Park, and they call it a solar park. Sounds fun that way. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. There's plenty of them on there. On the internet.
Hi, good evening, Planning Commission and audience. Chris Angel, Garden City, Millen Township. Getting a lot of people out of their neighborhoods and visiting some other parts of the county. I get around a lot. A couple of quick points because I have only 3 minutes. I'm late to the game. A lot of these people have been in this fight, this ordeal, 2-3 years. I didn't realize it was to this extent. I really did not realize. I've been keeping my nose to my own little property, living my own little thing. Started to see some stuff on Facebook, started to do my own research, started to talk to some people, real life people. I'm not one who takes things for granted, and I take everything with a grain of salt. So I do my research, went to these meetings, learned things the first night, learned more during the next 2 weeks. I think the crux of this issue is it was a special use permit. Don't know how it got to this point, because in my thinking, and I think the reason it was clearly denied at the last meeting in Harrisville Township was this one issue. You could talk about solar glare, they're not putting up the screening, they're not doing this, they may not maintain it. Those are all points that could be rectified. But the main point was and is, it was looking at agricultural land which is zoned by the ordinance as agricultural land. What they were bringing in was not a solar farm. It was an industry. It was 4,000 acres of solar panels covering 12,000 acres, almost a whole effing township. That's not a farm. That's an industry. I mentioned you to Harrisville. If someone came in and wanted to put a tire producing plant, that's an industry, would have gotten denied. The zoning laws are there because they've been instituted. If over time the zoning laws want to get changed, bring them before public comment, see if someone wants to change that. I doubt that the zoning laws will get changed. I think that's what needs to be remembered in future discussions with consumers or any other developers. You're applying for a special use permit, we're going to deny it right now. You're not even getting past that first stage because we're not changing agricultural land and rezoning it into industry. You probably don't even have an industrial zone in this township. And if you do, it's a very small segmented area. So I urge you, pay attention when the next time comes through. You guys are pretty popular. You probably thought being on the planning commission was, okay, thank you that's my time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Gary Bauer. I'm located at 5817 Franklin Street, Caledonia Township. I understand all of you are elected individuals. The zoning board review is appointed. Let's start from the beginning, and that is we have Build Back Better money, which has been allocated to the states. It's already out there, sitting there. Money ready to be spent. The governor is in charge of appointing the Public Service Commission, 3 individuals. These individuals and the governor have mandated that consumer power generate green energy at a certain point in time, effectively over time, eliminating many of the power generation that we have and forcing us to take solar and other alternative green energy alternatives as the only option. What this does, but first I want to say, it's very important to vote the individuals into positions who are now making these appointments and mandating this green energy. Climate changes, folks, it always has. Why it has, or having them put solar panels in this county isn't going to make a difference. All of you are just doing your job, I understand that, and this isn't aimed at you. But you're in the big boy playing field right now. Consumers has many lawyers, well paid, ready to go to fight the battle. And the battle they're going to fight basically is whether or not they meet the zoning ordinance. The ordinance language itself is the one thing that you can use to stop them from putting this development, this industry in our county. They chose Alcona County, which happens to have the largest amount of trees and forested land of any county in the Lower Peninsula, as one of the smallest populations. That means individuals who are ready, willing, and able to fight. Thank you. So we're the rubes, so to speak. They're taking advantage of that because they've got high-priced lawyers who are going to be fighting you. So be prepared. And it isn't long after they get the solar panels in that AI will follow. These data centers follow these solar panels. So if you think the solar is bad, folks, that lake that I live on, Hubbard Lake, there's a lot of water there that can be utilized for a data center. And that's the next step. So if you don't stop them here with the solar, plan to have an AI center in your backyard. And what does this do to the property values? As I drive up 127, I've watched what's happened over the years with the wind generators. And now solar. You see the solar as you're going up and down that road. And all the people who have land next to it, are they having any enjoyment of value in their property? No. They can't even sell their land. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Peggy Kinsey with Harrisville and Alcona Townships. First of all, your website is superb, and I am encouraging all of Alcona County townships to follow your pattern and steal shamelessly from you folks. Secondly, Ms. McKinnon, I believe, does have some valid points. Renewable energies are coming. However, on July 2nd, NEMCOG's findings of fact, or the evaluation of the Augustin Solar Ordinance versus the Consumer's Energy Plan, found nothing wrong with the Consumer's Energy Plan and suggested it complied 100% with Augustin's ordinance. At the August 6th meeting, however, the Augustin Township Planning Commission unanimously rejected the plan, identifying at least 6 items it found inconsistent with Augustin's ordinance. Knowing you guys are considering using NEMCOG, I'd like to look at these different conclusions and encourage Caledonia Township Planning Commission to consider engaging Dr. Chris Roble to help draft ordinances aligned with MEPA, or the Michigan Environmental Protection Agency, the township's master plan, statewide and nationwide best practices, and the community's character. Alcona County residents are also forming a 501c3 as we speak to raise tax-deductible donations and gather nationwide influence on responsibly implementing renewable energy while limiting the impact on our communities. We encourage the Commission to consider this opportunity. Thank you.
And what was the name of the gentleman you suggested?
I'll send you some information. Dr. Chris Roble, he did work for Eagle, and he does this stuff for a living.
Hi, Nadine Valentine. I live on Hubbard Lake. I'm asking our community leaders to carefully consider the long-term consequences of allowing a large-scale solar complex to be built in our rural agricultural area. Productive agriculture land in rural residential areas should not be sacrificed for developments that fundamentally change character and use of our community. Our rural area has value because of farmland, open spaces, natural landscape, wildlife, quiet surroundings, and agricultural heritage. Once large portions of that landscape are covered with industrial infrastructure, fencing, access roads, electrical equipment, and solar panels, that land and that character will be changed for decades. There are also legitimate concerns about there's legitimate concerns about the impact on neighboring property owners, drainage, wildlife views, property values, emergency access roads, road conditions, and the loss or fragmentation of productive farmland. Most importantly, we need to think beyond this one project, approving a large industrial development in an area that has traditionally been rural and agriculture, and establish a precedent for what comes next, a data center. Once we begin changing the character of our land, use policies to accommodate industrial scale projects, it becomes much harder to draw the line later. We should not make decisions based solely on what is built today. We need to ask what kind of community we want to leave for people who live here tomorrow. It is my understanding that the zoning ordinance does not have a CREO, which is a compatible renewable energy ordinance. The master plan and zoning code should designate commercial energy generation and future industrial facilities strictly for industrial zones and not agricultural.
My name is John McMaster on Barlow Road and the King Road in Harrisville Township, Augusta Township. Our family, we've been family farmers for over 150 years in Harrisville and Augusta Township. I just would urge you to be very cautious as you do the important work that you're doing based on our experience. We had about, before we realized what was going on, we had about 4,000 acres that were contracted to be taken out of agriculture and put into this industrial use. I would say in our experience, you have to be careful not to be swayed by the argument that this corporation has spent money and made promises before they had permits. That really wouldn't be any different than me starting a house or a pole barn without checking my property lines. If I'm on somebody else's property, that's my problem. It's not your problem to make right. There's been a tendency to kind of steamroller you, and I would really second what Peggy had to say based on our experience. I would not trust the person at MCOG to review your ordinance. I would definitely get a second opinion. I do think the person that Peggy recommended did excellent work for us in Guston and Harrisville Township. So you do have power. When people say that this is inevitable, you have no power, that you'll be assaulted by lawsuits and so on, it really isn't true. And you know, if they threaten that this goes to the state, if it's taken out of your hands, fine, send it to the state. Don't be part of doing something wrong. They have a long line of projects that they need to review, and there's been an excellent record of having these stopped in the courts. So set your ordinances upright and strictly enforce them. Don't take verbal, vague promises. It has to be in writing. We just voted 5-0 to reject this special use variance in Guston Township. I'm confident the same thing will happen in October in Harrisville Township. Thank you.
Else? As I say, every meeting, going once, going twice.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm John Troop from Mankato Township, and I guess what I'd like to ask the board right now is I recommend a moratorium on solar, wind, battery storage, and data centers until all of the ordinances in every township are written and overlooked and double looked by several different people. Thank you.
Quick, just give me 1 second. Anybody else?
Can I just,
Come on up again, give you one more shot.
can I just say thank you for giving us this opportunity?
Okay, we will go ahead and close public comment at this time. Later on in our agenda, we'll.
Hi there, I'm Shar Allers and I'm from Guston, but actually Killmaster. And I moved here 3 years ago from the Detroit area. And I was blown away by how beautiful it is. I've visited Montana before and there's big sky around here, it's just gorgeous. And I was told by my neighbors that there would be solar coming in, but I only thought it was one spot. I didn't know I would be surrounded by it. So I'm very sad, but I'm very, very impressed by the last meetings I've been to, and this one as well, of how knowledgeable so many of the residents are. And I'm just really hoping that we can, come to an agreement that, as the man just said, to really look at the ordinances and make sure that we have the ability to hold on to the things that are good. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, once again, anybody else? All right, I will close public hearing again. Public comment, sir. All right, approval of the minutes from the July 1st meeting. One comment, the line item under the zoning administrator's report, he was not here last meeting, so that goes on the board of trustees report. Anybody else have anything?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the 7/13/26 meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Written correspondence, we do have correspondence that came in today via email from Ian and Ramus. Thank you. We will print that out and put it in the record. And that was the only written correspondence. Reports, board of trustees.
At the last meeting, I took the plan that we had put together for the short-term rentals, and each board member was going to go through them and check them and make sure, see if they had any different ideas, and then we'll be forward to the attorney. And our next meeting is tomorrow night, very excited.
Okay, thank you. CPA, nothing to report, so there were no meetings last month. It's only an administrator or anything? Nothing. Craig Township planning, we did have a Craig Township planning meeting back in, it's been July. We did have some discussion about Huron Pines Forever Pledge. I wrote it down with the intention of looking at it. Some of the other townships have signed on with this. I believe it may be like an organization of some sort that promotes community, I don't say community involvement, but promotes, I think, probably nature and just improving things. And Ken, you may or may not recall, there was something about the two bridges in.
Yeah, but the off-funded bridges for Hearn Road, Black River, they're on Eaton Road.
That's in East Township. So I wrote it down with the intention of looking at it, and I just haven't had time over the last month, but I will keep that on my radar to look at. Other than that, we've just been talking, we were just discussing, from our perspective, just our ordinance updates and what we've been working on. So I think Alcona's been doing the same approach. Anything else for you, Ken? All right. With that reports aside, we'll go to new business. We need to set a public hearing. We attempted that last month, but we didn't get things back from NEMCOG again to get it in the paper. So we do need to post it in the paper so that we can have a public hearing on the updated ordinance. For everybody's information, Caledonia Township, we went through our ordinance update over the last probably 3 or 4 years, and it was approved in 2025. And after it was approved, we had more discussions. There were several things that came up, including the solar. And we actually used, we took some more information. There was a study done and more studies done by U of M on solar. There were several different things that we went back through again with the solar, and especially with battery storage. And we updated the ordinance again. So after 1 year, we wanted to make sure that we were latest and greatest with our ordinance as much as we could arm ourselves with. And we spent the last probably 8 months working on updating the ordinance for solar, as well as a couple other things, short-term rentals and roadside stands. I think were 2 of them, and a couple other smaller items. And we are now ready to set a public hearing on that. And the next available regular meeting is in September. I believe our next meeting is on September 14th. I am going to be out of town for a couple Mondays in September, including the 14th. What I would propose is, because we're going to have this public hearing and probably not have much on our agenda because we don't have any site plans or anything in rezonings. I would almost suggest that we set a public hearing for August 31st as a special meeting, and then cancel our September 14th regular meeting.
Instead of being 2 papers, right?
Yes. So if we get it in this week, it would be, or if we get it to the paper this week, it would be posted on the 19th and the 26th.
Are those 3 ordinances posted at the website currently today, the ones to be reviewed?
Yes, our proposed or current ordinance and our proposed ordinance amendment is posted on our website.
Thank you.
With that in mind, I would be looking for
Well, yeah.
it's ready to go.
So we got time to get in.
We have basically the posting in the paper is, all we need to do is add the date for the public hearing, and then the information on the ordinance amendment is already posted on the website.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for August 31st at 7 p.m. and cancel our September meeting.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that public hearing will be 7 PM, August 31st here. Alright. Having no other old business, just following our agenda here, I kind of wanted to take a few minutes. We're going to give ourselves 30 minutes, and I appreciate all of the comments that you folks have brought to us. I think when we first heard that we were going to have a lot of people at our birthday party, we thought, oh my gosh, but this is actually a really good thing, because we want to hear input from you folks who have been through this process with a couple other townships. And we are all here to learn from each other. We actually started, like I said earlier, we started working on the update to the zoning ordinance when I first started on the planning commission. Jim, how long was that ago? Probably 3-4 years ago.
For sure, yeah.
And that was one of the first things that my initiation was, here's the ordinance, we're halfway through it, let's keep going. And Anthony's been on the planning commission all the way through the whole process. And a lot of things have changed even in the last 4 years and in the last year. And although we haven't been, some of us I think have gone to the meetings, but we haven't all gone to them, so we don't hear the background. But the fact of the matter is, this township has not received an application from consumers or any other party with respect to solar. So we're taking your information kind of in ahead of the game here, anticipating that at some point, consumers or another entity may come to us with an application, or they may not. As many of you may know, we've been following the process. We understand that there's two options that they have. One is to work with the community locally, which I believe they probably want to do. I don't have any experience with consumers, but I do have experience with DTE in Southeast Michigan. And if consumers is anything like them, they like to be quote unquote good public stewards and try to do what's right for them at the same time do what they can do that's best for the community. And they do it, frankly, they do try to be good neighbors, and I'm not promoting them at all. That's what I'm saying.
Well, is that August 31st? Is that
This is
very productive?
This is my time, in our time.
I know it.
Hearing that and knowing that, I personally I'm a civil engineer. I've done work for power companies that have built solar projects. I spent a lot of time down in the Carolinas. I'm familiar with them. I'm not going to say whether they're good or bad. That's not my position sitting here. My personal position is that may come out right at the last day if this ever comes to fruition. Our position here is to look out for the good of the community. One thing we do not look out for as a planning commission is financially who gets ahead and who doesn't. So we cannot take financial things into consideration, like who's making money, who's not making money. That's not our position. A couple of the comments, there are members of our township board and probably our planning commission that at some point will have to recuse themselves from discussion. We understand that. That will be dealt with at some point when and if an application comes to us. If an application does come to us, we've done a lot of work in the last couple of years with respect to being prepared for when they do come. A couple things. Fire. We have a small fire department in our community. They're all our neighbors. Our neighboring communities are our neighbors, and we have to count on them to help put out a fire in the instance something happens. Buffering. We have updated, that was part of our current update to the ordinance. that if this does come and it comes to us, then we are pretty confident that we are exceeding well, there is no minimum requirement if they go to the state, but we actually, in our ordinance draft that's currently in place from a couple of years ago, we updated that to tighten the noose, for lack of a better term. We put more requirements into it. Spacing, fencing, access, all of that, we think that we've done about as good as we can do to protect our community as much as we can. This is not something that we're all going to be completely protected. It's here, and it may or may not be coming. We just don't know, but we're just here in anticipation. With respect to financial and hiring consultants, one thing that I think that we've gotten an edge, I don't want to say an edge, but we've gotten ahead of, is that in the event that anybody comes in, whether it's consumers or another consultant or developer that comes in with solar or any other data center, anything like that, we require special land use, which the other communities do. That's how it's done. But there's a couple other things that we are requiring is when they come in with an application, they're bringing a check, and they're bringing a big check. And the reason for that is because the five of us sitting at this table we are not experts at solar, we're not experts at contamination, we're not experts at wetlands, we're not experts at groundwater and surface water runoff and glare and noise. That's not us. So when I keep saying when, if we get an application that comes to us, they are going to be funding this township to be able to hire several consultants and attorneys that are going to be specialized in each and every different aspect that they're going to It's our goal that if they come to us and they stick with us and not go to the state, that it's going to be something that we're going to be able to live with. I'm not saying that we're going to be able to like it, but we're going to be able to live with. A couple of the options, and somebody mentioned Creo. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, there was discussion with respect to Creo. And I don't know if that's still in play, but that was where you have the communities, and in our situation, it would be Caledonia and Alcona, Caledonia and Haas, 2 communities, or Caledonia and Alcona County, that would have to get together and create this package that will accept your solar under these conditions. And that, from our perspective, from Caledonia's perspective, as well as Alcona County, wasn't really something that we were interested in, because it was kind of giving away the vote. And that's why we've kind of, I don't even know if that's still in play or not, but with respect to Caledonia Township, it's not in play. So really, there's 2 avenues, I think, at this point. One, either they come through the township, or 2, they go directly to the state. And as many of you may or may not know, with respect to the state, there's probably a half dozen requirements, maybe a dozen. I think it's all on one page. And there are, you probably already have it, MPSC, Renewable Energy Siting Process. And you can Google that. I have one copy here that I got probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's the process they go through, and if some of you have done a lot of research, there's not a whole lot to it.
There's way more current.
And there probably is, and I haven't been paying attention to it, because Caledonia is taking the standpoint that if they're going to come to us, we want to have the highest standards, just like we do for anybody else. If anybody, we have to treat them just like we would. One of our local septic companies came here. We treated them with the highest respect, they also had to meet our requirements, when they came in with the site plan approval. So we set our standards pretty high, and we understand that we have a lake here, and we have a lot of farmland here that people want to preserve. Anything else you can think of? Thanks. See if I can go in and comment on any other. One of the things that I want to bring up is that this whole thing that came up that allows a major utility company to do something and bypass the local community. It was a public act that was acted 2024 or something like that, that allows an energy company to basically bypass the local community, and it was approved at the state level, and it wasn't only, I believe there was ag or mining, there was a couple other items that passed at the state level that basically allows developers to circumvent, for lack of a better term, the local community, and this was one of them. I was encouraged to see the post on Facebook, the letter from Cam Cabot. I think that was great. We're in an election year. This is great that you guys are coming out here. Make yourself heard, not only to us, but to the state. The state does have a 3-member panel that was appointed by the governor at the Michigan Public Service Commission that voted this in. And if you really want to make your voices heard, voice it to them. You have an election coming. Voice it to them and get this thing overturned to put the power back in the township's control. The only other thing I want to say is I don't know, at this point, I don't think any of us know who the landowners are that are involved in leases. There's speculation, but there's nothing on the table. Nothing has been presented to us. For sure who it is, we kind of have an idea of the general area that they're talking about it coming to, but we have nothing for sure. The one thing that I do want to make sure that we all understand is that, and I'm not endorsing solar one way or another, but a property owner has the right to do, I don't want to say whatever they want with their property, but you have the right as a property owner to develop your property within the rules, and we have to consider that even when we don't like it. We've had a couple things before us that we didn't like, and we had to suck it up in the last few years, and it's not fun. But everybody understands that property owners they have the right. If you own property in a commercial district and somebody wants to buy your property and put something commercial on it, you have the right to sell it if they do that. So, and we have to understand that. The biggest thing I want to say is we have neighbors here from neighboring townships, and I appreciate it. Please respect each other. And I have seen a lot of things on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. It's just something it's just irritating how people can vent on there. I've seen things posted about our elected officials, about our neighbors, and please refrain from doing that. And this is a great body. We are a recommending body. If something ever comes to us, just like any other site plan or any other rezoning, bring it to us. Don't bring it to your neighbors, and don't put things on Facebook that incriminates people. That's just not right. We're all big kids now. And with that, I think that's really all I have. If anybody has any questions, maybe we can have them sent through. Is there an email that people can send to Cindy?
You can even just send it to me and I'll forward it to all of you.
Cindy is our supervisor. We have a distribution list in our township. She pushes out emails to a lot of people every month. Send it to Cindy, and her email is on our website.
And also, if they want to be on that list of emails that we send out with notifications, agendas and everything, just go to the front page of our township website, right above the calendar, there's a link you can click, put your email address in there, and then we send out the agendas, hearing notifications, you always know what we're doing.
So keep busy, keep Cindy busy. If you're not on it, get on it. And that's all I have. Anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you guys for all coming out. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I think you did a great job of setting up the meeting, handling your meeting.
Thank you. Let us close the meeting now.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And a motion, a second.
Second.
And a motion. Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, good, Dan. Good seeing you.
You know what? I missed you at a reunion.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's really missing me.
You know what? We saw. Oh, I know. I see him then.
I've got the picture. I have to bring it the next day. I've got a picture.
I got your text. I just haven't so busy.
No, I know, I figured, no, I was watching to see what was up because somebody said something to me, and I was like, who's coming there? And I'm like, what in the world?